Chiron continues its retrogradation process, and now it's in the 15th degree of Aries. This is the Indian blanket, or the Indian weaving a blanket. Aries is 15. Cosmic consciousness. Finding an inner balance of polarities, we are raised into cosmic consciousness. At first only momentary, we revisit this higher state repeatedly, holding it for longer periods. Mystics metaphorically refer to this as being robed in the universe, weaving a seamless robe or spiritual vesture, becoming a unique being of light. This is the fulfillment of our desire to be different, to differentiate and express ourselves entirely creatively. To do with living more and more as a realized being, sanctifying life itself, sanctifying ordinary things, showing great personal wisdom and leading to harmony. Clearly, we have here something of great importance. The image of being robed in light is central to the teachings within Sufism. It is understood that the physical body is simply an expression of self in form of physicality, whereas there's another form which is a light body, and actually there are others too. Not everyone can see this. Some people have that vision, some do not. Some can sense it with their hands or with their own atmosphere, and some just couldn't even believe that such a thing could exist. If it can't be measured by scientists, then some people won't believe in it. However, the Sufis understand that this is the case, and it becomes central to your purposes in life, when you know this is true, to relate differently to scenarios, to people, to yourself, because this robe of light that surrounds you is of greater consequence to you. It does not die when you take your last breath. It doesn't ever die. It's that which he lives eternally. And we forget about that on incarnation. The baby probably remembers it. It's hard to tell. They don't have the language to mention it to us. And it wouldn't be something worth talking about because it's so obvious. But I think we have it at birth. And this is why babies look so pure, so innocent, so perfect. And why we have this special quality of love towards babies generally, not just our own, but babies generally awaken us this sense of awe, as though there is something precious that should not be violated at all. We must take care of the babies. We have that feeling. And this is because we're relating to the robe of light that the baby clearly has in its consciousness. And we forget, as we get more and more attracted and seduced and bullied and propagandized by life and all the people in it, we forget. And come the age of 16, 18, not really likely to know about it anymore at all. You may even have forgotten it by the age of 5. And by the age of 29, it's very few people that can hold on to this awareness. They do exist, and they're the special ones, and they might find life a little bit challenging. Now, what we're learning here is that the consciousness that we have can expand to include that robe of light. And Jones speaks of how to do this rather well. Let me read from his text now. Aries 15, an Indian weaving a blanket. This is a symbol of personal fulfillment through a simple excellence of self-expression. Just think about that. Excellence of self-expression. And this brings personal fulfillment. And it presents the basic skills of being as a means for bringing all desired things to center in a true self-possession. The ego is stabilized through the individual's gift for preserving or enhancing some one of the arts or values which comprise the culture in which he finds himself. The busyness of life becomes a meeting of human needs as a means of enduring self-gratification. The key word is diligence. So rather than focusing on the result, Jones here is focusing on the cause, or how to bring it about. It may well be cosmic consciousness that we're talking about, but in his world, that can be dealt with by diligence. The pursuit of excellence in every moment, the expression of creative authenticity. Be yourself fully, diligently, and you will create this cosmic consciousness of your robe of light. And it's not just being aware of it, it's weaving it, it's growing it further. So that's Aries 15. And we have Chiron there in retrograde, so we've been here before, about a year ago. We're looking again at something we may not have given our full attention to. The retrogradation process allows that. So Chiron, whose job it is to change our mind, the mindset that we have locked into something which does not help us, in fact causes us the wound associated with Chiron. That's to do with a mindset. And Chiron says, let me heal that for you. All you have to do is change your mind. Do you want to be healed or do you want to be wounded? Which of those two do you prefer? That's what Chiron's saying in a rather cheeky kind of way. Look at it differently. You're focusing your attention on the wound that you've got. Well, don't you understand that what you focus your attention on is what you get? Why don't you focus on the healing of that wound, the gift that that wound has given you? Not only the healing of it, it's not erasing it so that it does not exist. That's just not enough. I want something for that experience. And what I want is a perception of self which is more advanced, more aware of my cosmic blanket, the Indian weaving a blanket of consciousness around herself. And Chiron is actually saying, yeah, well, the way you do that is to focus on it, to give your attention to the fact that you are a cosmic being, and you have evidence of that all around you. It is not an easy step, I have to say, to move from not believing in this stuff, which applies to most of the people that you'll ever meet, through a process of, could it be true? Might it be true? Shall I look to see if it's true? That examination, checking out. Just because I say it, it doesn't mean it's true. It has to be something that you validate for yourself, or you're just following blindly, and it may be that the blind is leading the blind. You have to check it out for yourself. Now that process is the Chironic process anyway. So the whole thing of awakening to your cosmic consciousness is Chiron's job. And Chiron's there in that degree now. And this is once again something that we've enjoyed a lot recently, where the planets right now, or many of them, are actually in a very comfortable place on the level of Sabian Symbols to express a very deep wisdom. These are very excellent times. These are times of fundamental change in the world. And one of them is, of course, getting the individual to wake up to the existence of self as a cosmic being, highly conscious of your eternal reach, your infinite reach throughout the cosmos. If, for example, we dropped a stone in an ocean, an absolutely still ocean with no waves, then a ripple would spread out. And there's no saying when that ripple ends. In theory, on one level, on the very, very subtle levels, that ripple doesn't end. It just goes out and it touches everything. And one ripple causes another, and so on and so forth. And eventually you influence. That ripple influences everything that is. We're like a ripple. We're like a stone dropped in the ocean, creating a ripple, I should say. And this is what the cosmic consciousness is all about. You have infinite reach throughout eternity. Wow, that's an awesome idea. And yet it is backing up this particular teaching. And the idea that we're lost in our own blinkered idea, we have this family, we have that job, we have that mindset. This is just crystallization of an infinite self into a tiny, tiny little speck of something of no consequence if you do it that way. But if you actually do it the other way, the way that Chiron is now making available to you through giving you this idea that we're talking about today, then you could just calm yourself down, get into a state, access Chiron consciousness, perhaps through meditation or whatever you use. I use song and dance as well as meditation and prayer, of course. Get into that state of like, this isn't quite the way it seems. You know, you got this open-mindedness and a quirky way of looking at things. Get into that state and look at yourself differently and look at your life situation differently. And you will notice what you did not notice before, that subtle things are powerful. Once, for example, I noticed the light shining from the sun on the rippling of a fast-moving river, and I was entranced and moved into a very high state of consciousness. I do the same with the willow trees in my garden. The wind sometimes catches them in a certain way, and I'm entranced. And I might see a child playing, absolutely thinking of nothing but the game, and I'm entranced. And all the time there are little things going on that entrances me. And that sense of entrancement is a deeper sense of consciousness. You just become aware of how wonderful it all is. And that sense of appreciation of wonder is absolutely in alignment with cosmic consciousness. It's because we don't do that love of wonder, that we lose cosmic consciousness. The baby has this awesome, like, wow, look at this, all of these colours and noises and shapes and smells and tastes which are brand new, fascinating, everything is new. Well, if we don't let go of that, if we hang on to that, if we continue to practice that and remember that, we don't have to learn it, we have to remember it. This sense of like, wow, at everything. Find some mystery in a bus stop or a car puncture or just look for the mystery in anything mundane. And you train your mind to look for mystery, and therefore you find mystery. And this energizes this cosmic consciousness field of energy around you, and you'll start to have a relationship with it. You'll know when you're in that state through feeling it, or sensing it in some way more subtle than feeling. So Chiron is asking you to have a think differently, think outside the box, change your perception. Do not be blinkered. Understand that life is incredibly awesome, and practice that as a way of life, not just a meditation exercise, not just on Sunday mornings, just every moment of your life when you can, just do that, and you will find yourself waking up to this glorious sense of self, which is worth the effort.